Good evening, everybody. I would like to talk to you tonight about pagan misconceptions or pagan stereotypes. Now, there are two types of these stereotypes, misconceptions that I want to talk to you about tonight. The first one is intentional. The second one is unintentional / ignorance. I do want to end this video on a positive note, so we'll do the unintentional ignorance last. Christianity has a long history of attacking any religion that it comes up against. As Christianity was spreading across the world, whenever something new came up, they altered their story. It was like the Borg. They studied their opponent and learned how to adapt and attack it. I say this because one of the stereotypes of Satan, Lucifer, the devil, is of a horned beast. Now, the Greek had Pan, and the Celts had Cernunnos. Cernunnos was the horned god, the great horned god. And so the Christians took these concepts and they adapted their Satan to look like this, so that when they were spreading their religion, they could say that Cernunnos or Pan were evil. Look at the horns. Okay? Now, one of the major stereotypes is that pagans worship Satan. We don't worship Satan. Satan is a Christian construct, and thus it is not a part of any pagan's religion, their beliefs, their path. We do not even consider that Satan exists. Okay, next one. Pagans can fly on broomsticks. No. You see, this stereotype was conceived because a lot of the wise ones back in the day had brooms or besoms as magical tools, and they used it for magical purposes. You sweep out the bad luck. You sweep out the bad energies. And so the Christians twisted it and came up with pagans, witches, ride broomsticks. And another one is that we have special magical powers. Some of us do. Not all pagans practice magic usage, but those who do have an ability that they have learned to use. So we do have some special powers, but not all the special powers that we're claimed to have. Another stereotype is that pagan women are nymphomaniacs. No. Pagans are more openly sexual compared to your Christians, your Muslims, your Jewish people. We do not oppress ourselves. We don't make sex into a sin. Sex is a part of living, so we enjoy it. But we are not into doing anybody and everybody that we can. Okay, the other part of that stereotype is that pagans have wild orgies every night. No, we don't. Trust me. It's nighttime. If we had wild orgies, I wouldn't be here. Okay? Another one is that pagans lack a code of ethics and are immoral. That's a joke. Christians want to say that pagans, witches, are bad people. They say that we don't have morals, because according to them, the Bible is where they get their moral code. I'd hate to break it to them, but not a lot of Christians follow the Bible, so they're not very moral either. Morality is what you value as your code of ethics. Pagan morality is a code of rules that we apply to ourselves to be parts of a community. If you need to have a piece of paper that says thou shalt not kill, you need help. Like for a lot of the Wiccans, in their Wiccan Read, it says, harm none. Wow, that means you can't rape. It means you can't kill. And, I hate to use statistics, but did you know that over 85% of the incarcerated people in jail right now in the United States are of the Abrahamic belief? Less than 2% are atheists, and just above 1% are pagan. Wow, isn't that interesting? So you see, we have ethics, we have morals. Just because we don't get ours out of the Bible doesn't mean that we don't have them. Another one says that pagans worship outdated gods and goddesses. What makes them outdated? Gods and goddesses are eternal. They are forever. Okay, so if something is forever, then they can never be outdated. This is, again, a way for Christians to say that the pagan gods are weak, worthless, they're imaginary, whatever. But the Christian God is eternal, it's all powerful, and, I find it kind of humorous how the Christians set up two sets of rules. They live by a double standard. Our God is all this, and their God's all that. Our God can do this, their God can't do that, type thing. It's insulting to us, but it's funny watching them, have two sets of rules, and when you try to force them to abide by the same rule for their God, for our gods, as they do with their gods, they really hate it. This one is pretty funny. You see, I'm on this one site. It's Net Places, Pagan Myths. Okay. Pagans were all raised by hippie nomads. No. I'm a pagan, and I have lived in the same county in Iowa all my life. Okay? I live 13 miles away from the town I grew up in. I'm going to be staying in this area for the rest of my life. There's nothing nomadic about me. Nothing nomadic about my parents. So this is, again, a way to discredit family. If you can't take and go after the pagan, go after its family. The next one here is pagans practice animal sacrifice. I laugh at this one because the Bible, that book that the Christians love, in the Old Testament, it actually tells you what animals you have to sacrifice for certain sins. That no sin can be forgiven if it was not for a blood sacrifice. It's in the Old Testament. And yet they want to say that we practice animal sacrifice. Now, the facts are this. The old pagans, back in ancient Europe and such, they probably did do animal sacrifice. But neo-pagans, people like me, in the modern era, we don't do animal sacrifices. Now, there are a couple of pagan pasts, Santeria, if I'm pronouncing it right, they do a form of animal sacrifice. It is a process of where they kill, clean, cook, and eat a small animal like a chicken all in one day, in one night. This is a part of their ritual. This is about them being together. And because that's the way they do it, they're not killing an animal, spilling blood all over the place and throwing it away. No, this is how they do it. And I have to respect them for that. Number 8, pagans live in wood huts outside of society. No, we have pagans everywhere. Des Moines isn't that far away from me. We have a lot of pagans there, and that's a big city. The town I live in has a population of about 4,000. I live in the center of town. I'm sorry, we don't live in wood huts. Ancient pagans did in certain areas, but a lot of ancient pagans lived in stone houses. And so, guess what? Ancient Christians did too. Number 9, pagans are a very small minority of the population. Well, that is kind of true. There are not as many pagans as there are compared to Christians. However, the number of pagans are growing by leaps and bounds. A few years ago, there was a study that said that Wicca, which is a branch of paganism, it was the fastest growing religion in the United States. Okay, and that's a wonderful thing. Number 10, pagans don't have the same legal rights as members of other religions. In the United States, we do have some legal rights. Core beliefs, freedom of religion, we are protected there. There are certain aspects, such as, I believe it's just 5 years ago, that U.S. soldiers were able to have the pentacle placed on their tombstones. In other countries, there are pagan groups, pagan religions that have full legal protection. I think, I could be wrong, but I'd say it was like about 7, maybe 10 years ago that Druidism got full status in the UK. So, we are getting legally recognized by various governments. And the bad thing is, they say that we don't have the same legal rights. Well, in a way, they're also correct, because Christians just love to oppress pagans. We had to have laws that protected minority religions from being oppressed by Christians. Many people that go to work that are pagans, and they get harassed by Christians every day, because the Christians are out to save them. So the Christians go out to pray for them. The Christians will read Bible verses for them. And it's very hard for the pagans to defend themselves. Sometimes they have to stay in the broom closet at work, because if it ever gets out that they are not Christians, they're fired. So that's something that's very important to think about. And I'm going to another page here. Again, I got to pass through some of these, because a lot of these are, again, the whole paganism and Satan. Okay, this one I love. Pagans and satanic rituals all symbolize a woman making love to Satan. Again, no. We do not have a concept of Satan. It's silly. They're saying that Wicca, or paganism, is against Christianity. Well, we have Christians that are against paganism. We are called, devil worshippers and that. And we do have a lot of pagans that are against Christianity because a lot of pagans were former Christians. And so there is some deep resentment, deep pain from being a Christian that is out there. But there is also a handful of pagans that have tried to adapt a pagan Christian belief system and have melted the two religions into one belief. So to say that, pagans are against Christianity is wrong. Yes. From 1985 to 1997, there have been hundreds of Wicca and satanic occult killings of babies in America. No. I did a little research, and there have been a lot of Christian nurses that have killed babies. But I have not seen a single report of a pagan killing babies. Now, this whole page that I'm on right now, they're trying to put Wicca and Satanism together and all that, and it's really crazy. I view paganism and Satanism as two separate entities, because there is your old school Satanists that is a branch of Christianity. The LaVey version of Satanism I consider to be its own religion. It is not pagan, it is Satanism. Okay. All witches have red hair. I don't even know where they came up with this one. I consider myself a witch, and I got dark brown hair. That's just silly. After witches sell their soul to the devil, they receive a mark on their body called the devil's mark. Nope. Witches, pagans do not sell their soul to the devil. It's just not what we do. Okay? The greatest sacrifice that a Wiccan can do is to kill their mother. No. Again, the Wiccan Read says, harm none. We are to make this world a better place. And if we're going to kill people, it's not making the world a better place. Another stupid one. Part of a Wiccan initiation ritual must be held over the grave of a relative in the cemetery. Now, I have never been initiated into a coven, and I have heard some stories that some initiations happen in a cemetery. However, I find that very hard to believe. Oh yeah, all Wiccans, all witches are female. No. Wicca is open to both genders. Yes, there are a lot of females in Wicca, but there are males in Wicca as well. So it is silly to say that all Wiccans are females. Wiccan symbols, such as the pentagram, are used to conjure up evil spirits and demons. I love that. No. The pentagram is an open symbol. It has been used by many religions to represent many things. A lot of pagans use the pentacle and the 5 points to represent the 4 elements and spirit. There are actually Christian groups that use the pentacle to represent the 5 wounds of Christ. So to say that a symbol only has one purpose is wrong. Okay, Wiccans, annual tribute to the devil? No. Oh gosh, this one, yeah. Hitler was one of history's most famous witches and human sacrifice gurus. Adolf Hitler was a Catholic. He was a devout Catholic. He imposed Catholic classes in school for kids. He indoctrinated Catholicism in Germany. One thing people need to remember that when Italy left the war, Hitler was in charge of Rome. Hitler's forces were in Rome. If he was so anti-Catholicism, so anti-Christian, he could have destroyed the Vatican like that, and nothing could have stopped him. He protected it. He had a personal relationship with the Pope. Okay, the Pope celebrated Hitler's birthday. Okay, always remember that. Wiccans use the blood of aborted fetuses in ceremonies. Again, you see, this is how desperate people are to send stereotypes and misconceptions about pagans. It is practically impossible to get blood out of aborted fetuses. I mean, because abortion clinics, they have special guidelines on getting rid of biological waste. There are certain paths that use blood, but I would say easily 80% to 90% of the pagan paths do not use blood whatsoever. So that is just crazy. Pagans are not afraid of hell. Hell is a Christian concept. So we're not afraid of it in any way, shape, or form. One of the other stereotypes, I'm just trying to remember everything here. One of the ones that bothered me is how they claim that pagans, mainly the pagan females, on Samhain, Halloween, would have sex with Samhain. And the Christians claimed that Samhain was the Celtic god of death. The Celts do not have a god of death. They don't. This is a complete fabrication. All these are complete fabrications. And why? To make pagans look bad. Okay? So, now, unintentional, ignorant misconceptions about pagans. Now, what these are is because we do not have a lot of people going out and converting people to paganism. We pagans believe that you must find your own path. If you are interested, you go and you seek it. We're not going to come to you, you will come to us. We will gladly answer any questions you have, but we're not going to question you. We're not like the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses where we're going to knock on your door. Well, I'd like to tell you about the great news about Jeebus. No, we don't do that. So this means that there are a lot of people out there who don't really know what it takes to be pagan. I did a video on this, and it's important, and so I'm going to go through some of those as well. Just because you read a book does not make you a pagan. I have seen a lot of YouTube videos where we have young ladies and young guys, they will grab a book and they will read it and they'll say, I read this book, man, it's wonderful. I'm a pagan. No. Reading a book is a wonderful thing. That's how we learn. You can watch YouTube videos and you can learn from those too. But it takes dedication, commitment, integrity to become a pagan. A standard pagan time frame is a year and a day. We love to use that year and a day. And until you really spend a year and a day studying paganism, you're still just learning. You don't know enough of it to say that you're a pagan. You got to go through a self-dedication. This is you dedicating yourself. You are willing to make the commitment that I'm going to be a pagan. And you take things like reading books. You take time to bond with nature. You learn everything that you possibly can about how life works. Paganism is about understanding the cycles of life. Okay, that's one. We have the misconception that fancy means powerful. On eBay, there are people that sell these pre-made wands. These glass and metal wands that they say are haunted or enchanted and all that. The most important wand that you can have is the one that you make yourself. Okay? So you make your own wand, you get your cloak and that, and you are setting yourself up, you're putting your energy into your belongings so that when you do rituals you have better effects. But the pre-made robe, the pre-made wand and all that doesn't make you Gandalf. It doesn't make you Harry Potter. And so, forget that. That's not going to turn you into a pagan. We do not cast fireballs. We cannot grab our wand, there it is, and go Expecto Patronum or whatever it is that Harry Potter says and cast a fireball. No, we don't do that. That's not realistic. Harry Potter is Hollywood magic. Hollywood magic. The Craft is Hollywood magic. There are some basics, truths in some of these movies, but a majority, 95% of what they show you in these movies is bullcrap. Okay? In the movie The Craft, you had the four ladies that each one would call a corner, and now that they had all four, they got powerful and they were able to cast magic. No. You don't need 4 people to cast magic. It takes 1. And that is yourself. Okay? Another stereotype that is in the pagan community is that we go skyclad. Skyclad means that we go naked. Now, there are certain events where there are some groups that go skyclad or go naked, but not a lot of people do that. There are some, but not a lot. I am 44 years old. I'm a heavyset guy. I'm the last person anybody wants to see skyclad. Okay, so I'll keep my robe on and my cloak, and I'm a happy person with that. One of the other interesting stereotypes is what we call a male witch. You see, a male witch is a witch. We don't have a special title for the male gender when it comes to being a magic user. Hollywood loves to use the word warlock when they're talking about being a male witch, but it's just witch. There are many instances where warlock means oathbreaker. Now, there are various paths that look at oathbreaker in different ways. I am strictly referencing to the point of warlock means oathbreaker, and it's not a male witch. It's just taken to a bad extreme. Okay, this is something that's very important. I want everybody to make sure you pay attention to this. All Wiccans are pagans, but not all pagans are Wiccans. You see, paganism is an umbrella term. It covers all of the earth-based religions, and Wicca is one of them. Druidism is another. So it's like Christianity. Christianity is the umbrella term, and you have your Methodists, your Baptists, your Wesleyans. Those are all denominations, just like how Druidism, Wicca are denominations of paganism. It is also my big pet peeve when I see posts and all that on Facebook and in other places where they go, Pagans and Wiccans, when they are actually one and the same. It's like saying Pagans and Pagans. I mean, Wiccans are pagans already. It kind of creates a barrier because you're kind of segregating. Well, we have our Wiccans, and then we have the rest of the pagans. It's just something that's always irked me. Then the other battle goes into how old Wicca is. Wicca is not that old. It is now roughly 60, 65 years old. It was started by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. Wicca is a neo-pagan religion, meaning that it's a new pagan religion. We have a lot of people that want to say that Wicca is an old religion. It isn't. Wicca has a lot of old connections. It has adopted a lot of the older ways from other religions, but it itself is not an old religion. I gotta thank my son for getting me kind of addicted to these, which is kind of sad since, like I said, I'm 44 years old. This is a Pokemon card. Now, one of the bad things that I see amongst pagans is that pagans, there are some pagans, a lot of the eclectic Wiccans actually, to be more specific, that treat the gods and goddesses like Pokemon cards. How they think that they do not have to build a strong relationship with this particular god or goddess, and that they can, oh, got a problem, and for this one I need Hecate. Hecate, I call you. No, it's not how it works. This is part of the ignorance that is in Wicca, and we got to stop this. You know, we don't expect our friend, a stranger, to do something for us. We have to build a relationship, you know, because friends help out friends. Strangers don't really help out. So stop using gods and goddesses as Pokemon. So anyway, those are some of the stereotypes that paganism has to deal with. A lot for you to consider, a lot for you to think about, so take care, be at peace.